What's up guys, it's Dooley Art here coming back at you with another drawing tutorial. This video is going to be about how to draw anime bodies, specifically male bodies. This is going to be part one of a series. First is going to be an adult male, then an adult female, then a young male, and then a young female. So basically what I'm going to do is first we're going to look at a reference of an actual person, an actual male. We're going to go through three basic poses just to understand the positioning and the proportions of the different body types. So a frontal pose, a side pose, and then a back pose. Now this isn't going to go into depth of how to draw each specific muscle group. I'll get to that in a later video. Like I'll show you how to draw arms, chest, legs in a separate video. This is all about positioning. Alright, so let's get straight into it. Get that pencil. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to notice is that the head size is proportionate to the height of the person, meaning roughly 7 heads, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Roughly 7 heads high is how tall the average male is, and the width of his shoulders, it should be so he can fit 2 more heads on his shoulder, one on each side. Another thing that you're going to notice is right here, about the halfway mark of the torso is a good indicator of where the elbows will go. And then another thing is if you go 1, 2, 3 heads down is where the waist goes. So the head goes 1, 2, 3. So 3 heads down is where you want to line up the waist. And then the length of the thighs is roughly 2 head shapes. See? 1, 2. And then you put the knee, and then another 1, 2 for the calves. So everything goes back into relation with the head. So once you draw a little small oval, that's your head. Then you go 7 heads down, and that will be your height. Then you go 3 heads down, and that will be your waist. And between your head and your waist, about the halfway mark is where you should line the halfway mark for the torso. Now the reason why you want to do this isn't only because you have the elbows here, so you'll know how long to make the arms, but also because we have a back muscle called the latissimus dorsi, I believe, shorthand for lats, and they come out kind of like wings. So you have that little angle that goes inward and then straight down. And most guys have it even if you don't work out. This guy obviously works out, but even if you don't work out, you'll have something that hints towards it. And then also to stop, the hand length stops around the crotch area. Alright? So there's a lot of things to keep in mind. The frontal proportions, and then once you do understand where everything goes, when you turn it to the side and you turn it to the back, it's all about perspective drawing then. So we're about to go straight into the actual drawing, and let's get it. Alright, so let's get straight into the drawing part. So first thing we're going to do is, like I said, everything is in relation to the head. This is going to be a frontal view of the anime body. So first thing I'm going to do is make an upside down, egg shape, an oval, whatever shape that you're comfortable with drawing. There's been a million different explanations, but basically some sort of oval. And usually the chin is thinner than the top of the head. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to quickly measure, offhand obviously. If you have a ruler, that would be much better obviously, but I've been doing this for so long I just feel very comfortable without grabbing the ruler. And I'm going to draw 7 heads going down to indicate the height. So right there, that's the 7th head, and that will be the base of the height. Now the next thing that I'm going to go into is that I'm going to measure down to 3 heads. So 1, 2, and 3. And just like I said, Around that third part is going to be the torso. So first I'm just going to count down all the numbers, and then 3 heads down is where the torso will end. Quickly just draw the neck. The neck is about half the length of the head, I'd say. Then the rest is going to be all torso. Now notice, like how I said before, that back muscle that shows from the front, the latissimus dorsi, makes it so the angle goes inward, then straight down. Now I'm going to draw the crotch area. That's about 1 head down. And then now basically you can see the simple shapes that I'm using. You start off with simple shapes: an oval for the head, like kind of a square for the torso, and then an upside down triangle for the crotch area. And now I'm measuring down to see if I have the head shapes right. So I have to fix that real quick. Halfway mark between the torsos is where you're going to have kind of like where the lats meets the rest of the torso. And then I'm going to draw the shoulders. Again, remember, when you're drawing the shoulders, make it so that the width of the person's shoulders can fit 3 heads. So 1 head in the middle, and then 2 heads, 1 on each side, hypothetically speaking. And the shoulders is just a circle. And then the biceps for now is going to be just a triangle. And then a long, kind of like an elongated diamond shape for the forearms. And then another kind of triangle just to indicate where the arms will be. And notice how the elbows stop at the halfway mark of the torso and the hands end around the crotch area. So as long as you get these proportions correct, you're going to have a convincing looking anime body. You just have to make sure you understand how that works. Again, I drew 2 heads just to indicate how long the thigh should be. And then once I do that, next thing I'm going to do is just draw 2 simple circles for the knee. All of these shapes, very, very simple right now. All you have to do, the most important thing about drawing is before you go into the details, everything is positioned correctly. If you don't position anything correctly, or you're a little bit off with your anatomy or your proportions, it's going to show. So just adjust the camera, and now I'm going to draw the calves. The calves are about 2 feet down, but at this point you should know where to end because you decided that he's going to be 7 feet tall, or 7 heads tall. And then for the feet, just draw kind of like a flat triangle type. And there you have it. Very simple, very easy to do. This is just a rough outline of how the male anatomy should look when drawing a full body frontal pose. Now I'm going to go in, draw the traps, which connect from the muscle to the shoulder. And then the chest area is going to be from the collarbone, which stops at the neck, all the way down to around where the shoulder goes. It's going to be a little bit lower than the shoulder on average. Most guys, their chest is a little bit longer than their shoulders. So that's what I drew here. And then for the arm, it's still going to be a triangle, but you kind of round out the bicep area, and the back of the arm, you kind of give it a sharper angle to indicate the tricep. And then you draw those lats that I talked about before. He's kind of rounding out all the shapes because no one has a perfect like square chest, you know. Just indicating the hands. After you drew the triangle, it's very simple. Just draw a little thumb and 1 finger, and the rest should look like they're being covered up. Again, this is just going to be simple proportions in the anatomy. I'll go into each muscle group in depth and in detail in future videos. Right now it's just kind of like an overview of how everything comes together. Now, obviously, this guy doesn't skip leg day, so I have to give him some thick thighs. Pause. And then the calves kind of have like the top part is thicker than the bottom part. It's a little bit of a muscle there. And the feet, you can keep it as a triangle if you want. I'm just going to put a little bit more detail onto it, darken it up. Draw the collarbone more convincingly. And yeah, as you can see, we went from very simple shapes, then we rounded them off, made them more real looking, and then now, because I can't help it, I'm gonna draw an actual face on this person. Comment below what you think his name should be. And I'm just gonna go in and ink it. Just so you guys can see it better and go with the finalized lines. Notice how the shoulders are rounded but still kind of have come straight down. Chest area. Alright, now what I'm about to do is I'm moving on to the side view. And so basically, of course, everything is going to be in the same area. The proportions are all going to be the same. You're just going to be looking at them from a different perspective. Notice how I draw the head shape to the side. The neck is still about the same length, about half the head. And now here's the part that you have to pay attention, sort of like the contour of the chest. So for an average fit person, their chest will pop out a little bit more, and good posture would have the shoulders go back. And I'm just going to follow the guidelines that I set. Starting off with simple shapes. So a right triangle for the crotch area. Kind of indicated the butt. I'm like 12 years old. And yeah, the calves, the thighs. And again, for the back, you're still going to indicate the lats, the latissimus dorsi. I'll make sure you guys remember that word before the end of this video. And you still have the halfway mark in the torso being where the elbow stops, and the hands should stop at the crotch area. Just going to quickly sketch in the hand. And so far, we have the basic shape down. Just going to go into detail, draw the neck muscle, draw an ear, draw the chin, give him some chest development. And again, I will be going into depth about how to draw each specific muscle group. But right now, if you're able to follow along and draw the basic shapes and put them in the right position, then you're golden. Now I'm just going to ink it in real quick. I'm going to go back into the time lapse, and then we're going to do the final pose, which is going to be drawing the human anatomy from behind. Alright, finally we're going to move on to the final stage. And the back pose is going to be a little bit different because obviously the muscle groups are different, but the general position of the head, shoulders, back, the latissimus dorsi and everything else is going to be the same. So I'm just going to draw lines, my guiding lines, to make sure I get all the proportions correct. And now I'm going to draw the head. Next is the neck. Now from the back, the neck is going to kind of go into the head a little bit, and you'll see right there I'm indicating the lats and the back still. So angle goes inward and then straight down, crotch area. And so yeah, as you see, like the neck is kind of covering up the chin, or where the chin would have been if it was facing frontal. The neck is going to cover that part because it kind of goes into the back of your head. Shoulders are still going to look the same, and for the most part it's going to look very similar to the front pose, but instead of drawing abs, you're going to draw the back muscles, which you'll see in a second. I'm going to draw the thighs. Again, start off with very simple shapes. And now we're going to go on to the arms. Now, instead of showing the bicep, you're only going to see the tricep. So instead of like a triangle shape that I had before, it's going to be more rounded, more like kind of like more curvy, I guess. And then you're going to see the two shoulder blades and a line going through the middle of the back, and then at the bottom, those two lines represent back dimples. So your lower back muscles, when you're standing straight up, flex, and that causes the lower back dimples. And in the middle, that's going to be a line because your skin kind of goes inward because there's no muscle there, it's just the bone. And then next to the shoulders, those two lines are the shoulder blades. And then I moved on to the elbows, which I drew as like small knees essentially, because from the front pose you couldn't see the elbow, but now you can fully see the elbow. And now I'm going to indicate the butt, the gluteus maximus. And now for the calves, it's going to look again very similar to the front pose. As a matter of fact, if you were to just take a silhouette, it would be exactly the same as the front pose. It's just the only difference is, again, you're going to draw the butt instead of the crotch area, and the back muscles instead of the chest and the abdominal muscles. And the back of the calf, at the top of it, has that large bump. That's a muscle group. So I'm just indicating it there. And then for the feet, just draw small little circles because kind of like flattened at the bottom to represent just the heels. And yeah, that's pretty much all you gotta do. And right now I'm gonna go into time lapse and just ink this really quickly. And that should be the end of this video. Again, I will go into every single muscle group in detail in future videos. This is just to get the proportions down and figure out how things align and where they go in relation to other parts of the body. And once you understand this and then go into details with the arms, the back, the legs, you'll be able to draw the perfect male anime pose. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you found this tutorial very helpful on how to draw the male anime body. Don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment if you appreciate the longer 20-minute video formats versus the shorter 3 to 5 minute video format. The more in-depth tutorials are just like a quick guideline. And I'll see you all next Friday.